Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Good afternoon and good evening for those that are watching this. As I always tend to do, I need to check things and make sure that technology is not failing me like it did on Tuesday. If anyone happened to see the stream, but it already looks like things are rolling good, which is awesome. And I know my guest is ready to go. And let's give it a few more seconds here. Yep, everything's good. All right, so hopefully everyone's having an enjoyable Sunday wherever you happen to be here in the world. And up here in Seattle, Washington, it's it's kind of stormy and wet and rainy, but I'm inside, and I've got some football to look forward to tonight because that's when my team plays, and I've got the fourth interview with Alice that I will be doing as well. So it's a busy but and productive Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to everything that's coming up. And so let's kind of get to getting here. Been looking forward to this interview. My guest today is a legend in the death metal scene. From Massacre, Death, 6 Feet Under, and Obituary, he has been bringing the heavy low end for decades. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Mr. Terry Butler. So let's bring Terry in here. Hey, Terry, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, sir. How's things
All
are
right.
good? Things are going all right down in Tampa and down in Florida?
Yep. It's great weather today, mid 80s, a little bit of a breeze, and everything's good.
Man, that sounds nice compared to I think we're like 55 and wet right now up here.
Yep.
Oh man. So like we were kind of talking pre-show, we're going to get to the upcoming live stream concerts that Obituary has. But before we do that, how have things been for you in terms of the pandemic, from March on, and how have you been coping with everything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, horrible, I guess is one way to describe it. I mean, we were Obituary, we were on tour with Black Label Society, and the tour was doing great. We were right in the middle of the tour, and it got shut down. And we came home with our tail between our legs, and we haven't played anything since March 15th. I mean, you know, as any band to tell you, the whole industry is shut down. Everyone from booking agents to the tour bus companies to the drivers to your techs to everything is just shut down. And we make a living doing this, so it really hurts because there's been no income since March,
Mhm.
and it's a struggle on that side of it. But then, you're worried about going out of your house, bringing anything into your house for your family, and it's just a horrible time right now. But hopefully, they find some kind of vaccine and we can get moving along again.
Yeah, here. It's interesting. I think sometimes not hardcore like Obituary fans. I mean, they're going to understand how this affects the band, but like the casual music fan, they still kind of have this idea that entertainers somehow like have a whole bank of money that they're sitting on. So it's
No,
no, they're out there on the road busting their butt because that's how they make a living to pay their bills and feed their families.
yeah, especially death metal. I mean, yeah. So we can make a living doing this, but we got to be on the road. You don't sell very many records. No one really does. So that aspect of it, you can't really rely on any kind of royalties. So you need to play the shows and sell the merch and that kind of stuff. And that's and unfortunately, we've been a band long enough to where we are in demand and we can make a living at it. But it's been real tough this year, obviously.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's become this thing for like everyone in entertainment where they have to figure out. So initially we thought maybe this was going to be like 3 months or something, and then it turned
Yeah.
into longer. It's become a marathon, and now it's like 3 or 4 marathons. I mean, shit,
Hmm.
it's gonna take a while. So it's like, so what do you do? Do you just kind of sit and wallow, or do you try to pivot some way to get another revenue stream together? and,
Yeah.
and keep things going. And you're right, and especially like for a band like Obituary, you guys like you go from one tour to another tour. I mean, you guys have been touring your asses off, um,
Yeah.
and to have that stop, it's like, okay, so yeah, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah. It's tough. And we came up with a solution. to get a little bit of, money generated, and we're going to talk about that here briefly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, no, let's actually just jump right into that. So you guys have three live stream concerts that are coming up on the 17th and the 24th of the, excuse me, yeah, the 24th of this month, and then also the 7th of November. And so let's start with them kind of individually. That you're going to be doing the Slowly We Rot album, the debut
yep,
album for the first one. So next Saturday, everybody, that's when that's going to be happening. And
yep,
you can go to Obituary Live, oneword.com for your tickets. They're only $15 a show, or if you get all three shows, it's $40. So I assume you guys have been in rehearsal for a while for these, or how's that been going?
yeah. Since March 15th, we haven't done anything, but we got the ball rolling, a few months ago, and we're rehearsing. It sounds great. It's going to be totally live, and the first one is this Saturday coming up on the 17th. We're going to do Slowly We Rot from front to back in its entirety, and it's going to be awesome. It's full production. It's just as if we were in a club playing, and hopefully people, in your home you're at home, you can crank it up, and it's not going to be the same as actually being in front of the band live, but you know what? In 2020, this is how you have to see a show, and we're busting our ass, bringing full production, and it's going to look killer. And we follow that up the following week with Cause of Death on the 24th of October, front to back again. And then on the 7th of November, we're going to be in our actual studio. The first two are going to Slowly and Cause of Death are going to be in an actual, like a venue. But the third set is going to be a mix of all kind of obituary songs throughout the years. And it's going to be in our studio. So it's going to be a little more intimate and us kind of, having a good time, goofing around and just rocking some tunes.
Okay, cool. Let me kind of ask some questions about each of those shows. I'm glad to hear that you said that the first two shows are going to be fully live. That they're not going to be
Yes.
in real time. They're not going to be like a pre-recorded live
Nope.
session.
All live. Yeah.
I love that, and I understand why some bands choose the other route because they want to kind of tweak things, or if they need to edit stuff, or if they have a technical issue. But I'd much rather just have it warts and all, and just like if you're at a show, and like if your bass amp goes out on a tour, then someone's got to fix that shit.
Absolutely. You got to go on the fly. You got to fix it right there on the spot,
Yeah, and that also that you mentioned you're going to have a full production, so it's going to be like you're actually at a club, so you're going to have like a light show and that kind of thing
Yep.
going on.
Lights, fog, the whole shoot match, everything.
Awesome. So people, when they're at home, they can like create their own mosh pit of one or how many
Yep.
people are in their
Absolutely.
home.
Turn the lights down, get some of your own strobe lights going, get you some beers, jump up and down, scream, pull your t-shirts off, whatever you want to do. just pretend like you're at the show, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, because like even like right now, like I'm wearing my Obituary shirt, so
there you go. Awesome.
Yeah, everybody can do that, and
yeah.
And I have to say, like I mentioned to your pre-show, that I was watching another band's live stream yesterday, and even though it was a live stream, and as we've talked about, it wasn't actually in a venue or what have you, but it was still nice for me as a fan to see the band doing their thing and kind of reconnecting, and it gave me like a little bit of a positive hope during that time of just
definitely.
Yeah, and I know it's going to be the same thing for the Obituary fans especially when they get to hear these the albums, in their complete from
yeah,
and then also that special one where you get to hear some of those deep cuts and those kind of rare tracks.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a really good time. And so have you guys? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we're excited about it. Our fans are amazing, and they've shown great support, and it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. So have you guys been like rehearsing everything together, or just kind of focusing like album to album right now, or how have you been kind of putting the stuff together?
It depends on the day. Some days we go through all the sets. Some days, we all have families, so you got to kind of work your schedule in with the families. And some days we can only maybe practice one set. But we've been running through all the songs for the last month or so, and they sound really good and tight. Brushed up, knocked the rust off the songs, and it sounds great.
Cool. And Do you know, is there going to be, particularly with the show on the 7th, when you're doing the special rare cuts in the studio, in your guys' studio, is there going to be kind of a chat option where fans can kind of like maybe say, hey, can you play this? And if it happens to be a song you guys have rehearsed, you can actually do it, or?
I think there is going to be a little question and answering session.
Okay.
Yes. We'll have more details. We'll put it up on our site and on the social sites. But I think it's going to be, like I said, a lot more intimate where fans can, even though it's going to be a lot more intimate, it's going to be still a really good production. We got like 6 cameras. The sound will be great. And, people, I believe people can ask some questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know I'm seeing some comments right now as we're doing this interview.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of came up like. Are
Yeah.
you guys going to have that? Because fans love to be able to have their input or their positive things
Yeah.
to say. So
Um, like I said, we love our fans, and we're very accessible on the road. And we love, because without the fans, none of this would even be possible. So we always, thank them.
yeah, no, and that's very true because obviously, I've met you and I met Trevor a few years ago, and you guys couldn't be more down to earth, just regular. And that's actually kind of true of, I say, most death metal musicians I've met.
Yeah,
They're just like regular guys. They're on stage, banging their heads, and then they're off the stage having a beer with you, kind of a thing.
yeah, we're humans just like you guys are, and we're just fortunate enough to get up and play some music that sounds good, and you know,
Yeah, and with the rare and classic tracks on the 7th, how did you guys figure out what to play? Was there like a back and forth discussion with the band members of what you guys thought you should go through, or how'd that work?
um, yeah, we songs were thrown out there, and we kind of narrowed it down. We wanted to play some stuff that maybe we haven't played for a while live, and you got to kind of play some of your hits, so to speak. The some of a handful of songs that they want to always hear, but then you toss in, like you said earlier, some deep cuts and some stuff that maybe hasn't seen the light of day in a while. And they'll get to see our studio and how we interact with each other, and it's just down to earth kind of a show.
That's cool. The tour the virtual tour that I'm on right now, it's done in the drummer's home, and so they converted. They have a light show, the design, everything
Yeah.
like you're in a club. At the same time, you get to see them kind of interact with each other, be goofy, laugh about stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see that human side of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, and you've been playing bass obviously for many decades at this point, and it's been death metal all the way. When you look back, because I was actually watching I think there's some footage from Death from the Ultimate Revenge compilation that they put out way
Yeah.
back when.
Yeah.
Uh, do you just look back at the your career of like, holy shit, that you've been doing it for this long?
Yeah, definitely. I've been fortunate. I've been in like 4 very big bands, and done a lot of cool things and played on a lot of records. I've toured the world many times over, and I still have the same enthusiasm for it. I love it. When I look back and see some of the first early videos of myself playing, I still have that same energy and drive. I just love playing music for people, and being in death, was amazing. Helped writing Spiritual Healing with Chuck was an amazing experience. And, at the end of the day, I can just tip my hat and say, hey, I may not be Geddy Lee on bass, but I've done a lot of cool things, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I've done. And, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've had an incredible career, and it stands the test of time. That's probably one of the best things you can say about any musician when you listen to their music. If it's something from like, yeah, if it's Death from the '80s, that shit
Yeah.
still sounds extremely relevant now.
Yeah. Some of the building blocks, the ground, paving the road for future bands kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And can you kind of tell me about your early days in terms of becoming a musician? Did you start off with bass? Did you start off with guitar, or how did that work for you?
I started with bass. I bought a bass. I think I was about 16 or 17. Um, just plunked around on the thing at home, try to pick up some songs and learn some songs. I was never fortunate enough to be in like a garage band and you know, do covers when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I just picked the bass up and started plunking around. And my best friend at the time, Bill Andrews, he started Massacre with Alan West, and I was there from day one at every rehearsal. And when they kicked out their bass player, they called me up and said, "Hey, you want to come and play bass?" And I was like, "Sure." I knew all the songs already because I was there at every practice, and so that was the beginning. I was kind of a late learner, like late bloomer. I just started actually. I think I got into the band when I was 18. And Massacre was my first. But better late than never. And it just immediately took off from there because I was in Massacre for maybe 6 months, maybe even a little less, and I joined Death. So things started happening quickly.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, which maybe isn't mentioned enough, you've definitely had a hand in songwriting for a lot of the acts over the years. So can you kind of speak to your songwriting input in some of the
Yeah,
different bands you've been a part of?
yeah. Each band has a little different style, but it's all aggressive and heavy. Massacre is a little more thrash and death metal. 6 Feet was kind of like heavy, groovy kind of death metal, but it's all the same at the end. Just some heavy, extreme music, and you just you try to write what you feel, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, and I remember from our interview like 3 years ago that we started talking. We went off on a tangent about like Thin Lizzy and
Oh yeah.
UFO and all the kind of bands that we're influenced by. And I'm just off the top of my head. Here's another tangent. We obviously lost one of the giants of the guitar world this week, in Eddie Van Halen. Uh,
Yep.
do you
It's
remember
tragic.
Yeah? Do you remember the first time you heard Van Halen?
Oh man, it's probably from my uncle. I had an uncle that was 10 years older than me, so I would go over to my grandmother's house a lot when I was a kid, and he turned me on to Deep Purple and Leonard Skinner and Kiss and all the early stuff. And I would say it was probably him playing that first record when I first heard it. And by then they were all over the radio too. So, but I would have to say my uncle, probably at my uncle's, house, listening to it. And yeah, it's tragic. I mean, Eddie Van Halen, obviously, he was a game changer. When he came on the scene, people like, jaws dropped, and people just lost their mind. And he was one of those people. And it's sad and tragic what happened, but he left us with a lot of music. So
Yeah,
just crank it in his honor.
yeah, for sure. I was, yeah, just like a punch to the gut when I found out because I think I was doing some work or something and I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I saw something online about it. I was like, what? And I had to like do a double
yeah.
take and um,
Yeah, I knew he was sick, but obviously I didn't know the depth of it or what it was, but it's definitely terrible and tragic.
yeah, I was fortunate to see him with Roth back in the day, and then I saw him with Sammy a few times as well. And
Yeah.
being a guitar player myself, he's got to be in the top five for me in terms of influence.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in a very unique style and just incredible tone, and just it was, like I said, he's one of the handful of guitar players you can say are actually game changers, like Hendrix,
Hmm.
Blackmore, Van Halen, Yngwie, those guys, just, Uli Roth,
Yep.
Michael Schenker, they're just, you know,
Yeah, and when you see like some of the people actually that you just mentioned pay tribute to him, like I know Michael Schenker did, and
yeah,
like that tells you all you need to know
sure,
when you got the giants respecting another giant that had passed on.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
man, and that actually kind of brings me up to like with your bass playing. Who do you cite as influences for your own bass playing?
Well, funny. It's funny. Early on, it was more of an influence from like a band. Like, I wanted to be a Slayer. I wanted to be Venom. I wanted to be, you know, that kind of possessed. But then later on, when I got serious about actually playing, um, it's people like Geezer Butler, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. I mean, amazing bass player, amazing vocalist, songwriter, storyteller. Steve Harris, John Paul Jones, John Entwistle. I mean, these guys are just like gods, they're like, you know, they can do anything they want on an instrument. These are the heroes, and
Mhm.
that's the style I really like.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I was thinking too that what's it been like for you being a part of Obituary? That I know you guys have done tours slash maybe festival shows with some of those bands you just mentioned, like Slayer. I know you guys played with
Oh
them.
yeah.
What was that like being sharing a stage with one of your
Oh
heroes?
man. I mean, the Slayer tour obviously is a bucket list thing, and to open up for that whole tour for 25 shows in Europe was absolutely amazing. I mean, they treated us great. Their crew was amazing. We knew most of the crew anyhow. All the bands, Anthrax, Lamb of God. I mean, everyone got along great, and it was just every day it was amazing. Like you get to see. Not only do you get to open for Slayer in front of 10 to 15,000 people, you get to see them every night too, and it was incredible. Absolutely amazing. And playing some of the festivals in Europe, I mean, you get to play. You're playing beside some of your heroes, like I said, like UFO and Uriah Heep and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. You're sharing the stage with these people, and it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, as you're talking about that, I can just only like completely like fanboy about
Oh yeah,
standing up on the side of the stage, watching those bands play, night after night that you grew up, as a teenager listening to or what have you.
yeah.
It's
I mean, I think at the Metal Camp, or it might be called Metal Days Festival. I don't know, one of the two. A couple years ago, Rob Halford wandered into our dressing room, and I couldn't speak. He was like, Obituary. He's like, yeah, I love that album with all the industrial stuff on the front cover and all that. He's talking about World Demise, and I froze. I could not even think of the name of the album. You know what I mean? I was like totally fanboyed out. But that happens sometimes.
Yeah, well, and like they say, everybody has their influences, everybody has their heroes,
Yeah,
and just like Rob has his own people. So like if
sure.
if like Little Richard was still around and wandered into his dressing room, he'd be
Of
like,
course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember Paul Stanley from Kiss was talking about the same thing. Like when he met, I think Jimmy Page, and when he met somebody from the Stones, he was just
Yeah.
like, oh, hello, sir, that kind of.
Exactly. You're like starstruck. You don't know what to say. Your mouth doesn't work. You're trying to form words and you can't, but.
Yeah, no. And just for the technical people out there that are also musicians, what are you playing through these days? Like, what's your bass guitar and your amp and anything else? What kind of gear?
Um, my amp's been the same for like almost probably about 30 years now. I use an Ampeg 810 cabinet
Okay.
and an Ampeg SVT2 head, all tubes. And that's pretty much what I use. I record with that. I play with it. I mean, it's got all the power I need. The head still from back in the day. I think I got the head in '87, and still working fine. And it's great. To me, 8 10-inch speakers gives me plenty of bottom end. You know, so I don't ever deviate from that. It's like, what if it works? Why change it? You know. I play through a couple different pedals, a rat pedal. Um, and in the studio and live, I got kind of a clean tone going with that distortion on top of it, kind of blends in, so you get some of the bottom end, you get some bite. Um, and as far as guitars, I use a Charvel that I've had since like '87 as well. I also have a Grossman Edge, guy from Romania, Grossman Guitars. He built me. Um, uh, I'll throw in a Jackson guitar here and there. Another guitar is a custom built one from Scott Pavarnik, SPC guitars. Um, but I can kind of get roughly the same tone with those guitars.
Okay.
So
Wow, that's interesting that you some of your gear from the amp side and also from the guitar side is some of the stuff you've had from the late '80s.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a gearhead. I mean, I'm not like one of these people that are constantly changing stuff out, and I don't have like 25 different basses, and I got like a bunch of different heads. To me, it's like it always sounds great no matter what year it is. So I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to switch up and do anything different. Why would I?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. If you found the stuff that works, then then
Yeah,
it still works. Then why, yeah, why change it? Like in my case, I don't have the means to change my own
yeah,
gear, but it does work though. So it's like, hey, um,
sure.
that makes sense. And so just to kind of bring us back to the live streams, is there anything from the three shows that you're going to be doing on the 17th, 24th, and 7th that you particularly are looking forward to? Maybe a certain song, or like doing some aspect of the show, or just all of it?
I think it's just all of it in general. Obviously, we've never done this before, so it's kind of new to us. So you have some anxiety leading up to it because it's new territory. But we're going to sound great. We're going to play tight. The songs are going to be heavy, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the fans' reaction, the feedback of what they thought it looked like and how it sounded, and yeah,
Okay, and
should be a good time.
yeah, for sure. And with the technology aspect of the live streaming and the multi cameras and that kind of thing, do you have like friends of the band that are doing that, or do you have to hire this out to a company? Or
We went to a company here in Tampa. They've done other live streams in the past, and they're full production. They have amazing everything, PA, stage lights, everything. And
okay,
but we're gonna have our sound man Joe Sakata. He's gonna run sound for us. He has also produced the last record. He's mixed Suffocation, a ton of bands. So on that side, the production side, we're stacked. We got a lot of good people helping us. So it's gonna, should go off without a hitch.
all right. And again, for the fans out there watching, it's obituarylive1word.com where you can get the tickets. It's only $15 each for each show, or $40 if you save $5 to have all three shows on next Saturday, the Saturday after that, which is the 24th, and then you skip Halloween. They go right to November 7th for the last of the three live concerts that Obituary is going to be doing. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask this. So it sounds like I've read a few things online that the band has like a mofo of an album ready to be recorded in terms of new ones. What can you talk about with the new stuff?
Yeah, there's actually a few songs that have been kind of pieced together. It's always like a puzzle. You got some rhythms here and there. You kind of piece them together and see how they work. But the seed has definitely been planted for a new album. Um, there's a lot of cool ideas being kicked around. So, I mean, God knows we got plenty of time on our hands with the pandemic. So we're going to take our time and make sure we can come up with the best possible album for the fans, and hopefully can have it all polished and wrapped up and everything, and have it out sometime in the first half of 2021.
All right,
Yeah,
that's that sounds good, and yeah, because you guys again, and you kind of mentioned it before that bands these days they make pre-pandemic, of course, they make their living from touring and merch sales. Uh,
yeah,
they're not making from album sales, and it's actually I saw something recently where they're saying even for metal bands, more of them are starting to put out one song at a time, just like what a lot of pop and other genres do, because albums are
yeah,
they spend so much time and money on it, and then they're not getting the money back from it.
yeah.
But one thing I thought of with the live streams, do you guys have any plans, and maybe you're not sure of taking that audio and maybe putting out like live, a CD or a compilation of things, or just kind of stretching it out into next year?
Yeah, obviously that will be there for us if we want to do that, and possibly we might take, you know, a few songs from each one of those live streams and make something out of it. Who knows? But that is there to use in the future if we need to. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. At least you have it banked away.
Yep.
Cool. Well, hey, Terry, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, all the Obituary fans out there, go to obituarylive.com to get your tickets. Not too late to purchase things, to see the live streams that Terry just talked about. And again, Terry, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you and the band stay safe, and I'm looking forward to the shows, and also that your family stays safe down there in Florida.
All right. Thank you, Mark. You stay safe as well. And all right, fans, let's get out there and buy this ticket so you can check out this awesome live stream.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you. See you.